Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm excited, man. You guys are rock stars. I mean, I'm really excited to be on this broadcast. This is really cool.
Well, we are super excited to have you. For those that don't know, Dave is a real estate legend and a real estate coach. You pride yourself on being a different real estate coach, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Tell us about the coaching program and give us a little bit of your backstory. We're excited to have you today.
So thank you so much, man. It's so nice to see you guys. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and it's exciting. I mean, this is really cool. So I've been in the business, a couple of years. I was first licensed in 1976. Yeah, that's right. I was 2 years old at that time. The licensing laws were short that day. But anyway, so it was during college, right? So yeah. I learned how to list and sell. My training was really intensive. It was, if the phone rings, answer it, and hopefully you get an appointment. Maybe I'll go with you. That was my training. Rah-rah meetings once a week, and it meant absolutely nothing. So that was my training. I got my first listing. The listing price now in New Jersey, to have a listing price of $49,000 is really something. And I know there's a lot of places around here with that's not that big of a deal, but here that same house probably is $450,000 right now.
Wow.
But so that was back in the 70s. As time went on, interest rates were 18, 19, 20%. I got out of school. I started working for my dad, who was a dentist, but I didn't work in dentistry. He was a real estate investor. So I worked for him for a lot of years, had my own brokerage for 21 years, sold that a few years ago, and slowly but surely got into this coaching thing. And the great part about what I've been able to do is the people I've been able to meet, the people I've been able to collaborate with. I've done everything in the real estate business. I've built buildings. I've built lots of houses, renovated, flipped, bought, sold, industrial buildings, commercial buildings, mixed-use buildings, ran a lumber yard, ran a liquor store. So everything that realtors need, such as lumber and liquor, we were there, right? I've done a lot of everything. The satisfaction I get best is when, it's that when an agent comes in and says, Dave, it worked, or Dave, I did it. It worked. I got the listing. I got the transaction. What you said worked. That's the pleasure I get out of it. And that's what keeps me going. And it's difficult, being in the business a long time, and my reason for getting out of my brokerage was, as I said to you earlier, it was no question and nothing to hide, financially and health. Those are two reasons I get out. But mostly the reason for that was I was working with agents that really didn't want to work, right? Now, the typical brokerage, as you know, is, you basically have your couple. If you got 30, 40 agents, you got the top producers, you got a couple of people that are okay, and then you got the onesies, twosies, and then the part-timers you never see.
Yeah.
It just was so much when someone would come in, spend an hour and a half with me, and the next day say, you know what? Thanks, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it my way. And I'm sure you've seen people just like that, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. It's still, that's the business, right? I mean, you guys see it too, right?
Yeah, and that's sales in general, right? I mean, you can translate that across the world into all different industries, right? You've always got those ones that, they want a part-time in, they just don't really put all their effort into it, and the results go. And then you have guys like yourself that go out and hustle and make a career out of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, and everybody, you see it and you look at it in this business of trying to coach real estate agents, you see so many other people doing the business and doing this kind of work, and you marvel at what they do and how they do it. But look, my business, the real estate business, is just like, any other business. You've got so many competitors out there. And the best way and the best advice I really give anybody in any business is put the blinders on and don't look at anybody else. Just look at what you're doing.
That's
right?
Great. Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges in this industry, right? It's like there's so many different ways to do this business, and you can get so overwhelmed so quickly because you see everybody else, especially now with social media. We see everybody doing it their way, and we feel like we're constantly missing out. Like, I need to jump over here and do what they're doing, and I need to be over here. And I think so many agents have to just really hone in and focus on those few things that they're good at.
Right. So exactly. I mean, the thing about me, and the best thing that my coach, I have a couple of different coaches, and the best thing they've told me, and just recently too, was turn everything else off. You cannot look at all the other people, what they're doing and how they're doing it. I said, well, I'm curious, it's research. I said, no, it's not. It's hurting your time. It's hurting your effort. Decide what you're going to do. It's like I tell all my students, right? Make a decision on which way you're going to go. When you decide, everything else goes in the back. Look, it's like when you go out to dinner, right? So you go out to dinner, you look at the menu, and okay, so I'm going to have the steak. Am I going to have the scallops, or am I going to have the chicken? Well, I decide on the scallops. The steak and the chicken, I forgot about them. I'm just waiting for the scallops to come. That's all I'm thinking about. Yeah. And that's a way to look at your business. Would you guys agree with that?
100%. Yeah. Make the decision and run with it, and just focus on that decision and how to go, take that down the best path. I did have a question. So lots of new agents getting into the industry. Obviously, real estate's been super hot over the past several years. What do you see as the biggest pitfall that new agents make, and what separates the elite from the average?
The thing to do is just to get down and work and not worry about everything everybody else is doing, just like we said. But the biggest pitfall is that some way, somehow, somebody tells everybody, find someone that's making money and doing well and copy what they do. Now, that in and of itself is great advice. However, so Jason and Jen, if I looked at what you are doing and I see the videos and stuff, and I go out there and start doing these videos, I'm not looking at all the back work, all the hard work that goes into it, right? I'll give you another example. An agent that goes out there that's brand new, starts posting listings, right? Call me if you're looking to buy or sell. That line in and of itself drives me nuts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right? That is like, I said, look, if you want to work in this business in the 21st century, you need to be in the year you're working in, right? Yeah. If you want to work in the year 1995, go ahead. But, there's no such thing as time travel yet anyway. Right. You need to be in 2021, and those lines just don't work. For instance, I'll give you the best thing I tell them to do is people say refer. They use that word. I say rather use the word help. So if you know of anybody looking to buy or sell, please refer them. Or I can always use your referral. No, don't say that. Hey, look, you got any friends that I can help the way I helped you? Just let me know. Yep. It's not intrusive. It's actually a really nicer way to do it. It sounds friendly. But the pitfalls are copying the wrong things. And the best way to get rolling is to just, again, decide what you're going to follow and how you're going to do it. And unfortunately, in this day and age, you need to have someone stand next to you, whether that's going to be your broker, your manager in a bricks and mortar type thing. Mm-hmm. But with EXP, you've got certified mentors, and they're doing their job well. You're going to do really well.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's so true. And I've actually several people watching this have probably already heard me say this, but I was on a Peloton ride the other day, and the one instructor, he always just drops these nuggets that I can't shake. And one of the things he said was, it's not about how bad you want it, it's how much you're willing to struggle for it. And that, the whole rest of the ride, it just stuck with me, but not so much, because obviously I know there's struggles, but then I started really reflecting. This was actually my goals and the things I didn't hit, where did I fall short? And I was like, you know what, I'm willing to struggle. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm running myself crazy sometimes. And then the more I thought about it, I think that the reason why I didn't hit those goals is, first of all, I didn't prepare for the struggle, right? I didn't really think it through. And I wasn't prepared for the obstacles that were coming. And I didn't empower myself with the knowledge to get over those. So I think with being at the very beginning of the year, as we're sitting here, we're setting our goals and we're doing all those things, think now about we all know where we're short on things and where we don't know. We have a hard time sometimes admitting it. I know I do, at least. And then
she's never been wrong.
Never, right? ever. It's amazing.
I get that. But
it's really, it made me go back through my goals for the year and really say, okay, this is the stuff that I need help with. Who can I surround myself with now? What mentors do I need? What coaches do I need to help me get past that?
Yeah, but one of the things, Jen, you got to remember is that, what do I need to do now? What coaches do I need to surround myself with? Is if you're asking yourself that question on a regular basis, you're going down a rabbit hole. You're looking at all different kinds of squirrels. Yeah. And that is the biggest problem. There's so many things coming at us with technology. I mean, okay, so if you look at technology over the next 2 years, I think it's going to advance as much as we did the last 10. what will happen in the next year to 24 months, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this new thing. I really hate to mention it, but I have to because it's been on my mind for a couple of days, and that thing called Clubhouse.
It's a rabbit hole. If you get sucked in, you can't get out.
Well, honestly, I think I think a lot of agents will be abused by it because they're going to get sucked into it, right? And while I think there's a lot of great things there, I think it's a very dangerous squirrel hole or rabbit hole to go down. You know, one of the things that we have in our lives is in the real estate business, we are allowed to do whatever we want. We are allowed to set our own time, make as much money. Unfortunately, 80 to 90% of the people really don't want to make a lot of money because they don't want to set their time right? Mm-hmm. But we have these things called smartphones or whatever, and people say, well, you know, I get stuck in social media. I don't want anything to do with it. And you find themselves stuck on it for 30 minutes. And I tell people, look, you don't want to go down a rabbit hole? Great. If you need to check something on social media, set your clock, set your timer. And I do it like this. Hey, Siri, give me an 8-minute countdown. And I always use 8 minutes.
Done.
In 8 minutes, it's going to stop me. I'm going to be going on. That is the way for anybody, you guys, me, new agents, to make sure you watch what you're doing and be careful of what you're doing with your time, because time can go so fast. And our biggest problem with new agents, with most agents that I work with, is structure, right? Mm-hmm. So my little thing about structure is really simple, right? Everybody talks about having a foundation. You need a strong foundation. Well, you know what? I don't know if you guys have ever built houses before. Up here, one of the things we have to do, since we have cold weather and freezing weather and stuff, we've got to be careful of that frost line. So we've got to dig 3 feet down and get to solid ground. And what we pour first is a footing. On top of that footing goes the foundation. So if you don't have a solid footing, you're never going to be able to build that foundation. And your footing is mindset, and your footing is the basis of what your structure is going to look like.
I love it.
So I work with mindset and ritual. Not that I'm a mindset person or mindset coach. It's just you need to have something there that keeps you grounded, right? So my daily ritual is really is it sounds complicated, but it's very simple. I get up, I read a couple of one-page passages, one having to do with self-esteem, one may be from scripture, depends on what the day is, right? Mm-hmm. Then I write down what I'm grateful for. Then I write down my goals and affirmations. Then I work out. Then I'll meditate for 10 minutes after that on my manifestations, and I go to work. I am so excited to go to work, even in a morning when I don't want to get up, because I did that. Yeah. Today's an example of that. I didn't want to get up. I knew I wasn't going to run, so I had extra time. And it's just like, okay, I got to get going. So I didn't want to even write. So I said, you have to write. You committed to do this. I did it. And then I was ready for the day. You know, looking forward to my day and looking forward to what I had to do. I wake up every day and say, who am I going to help today? Who am I going to impress today and be able to get them to smile or get something out of them? And it always appears. That person, that thing always appears. You just have to want it. So when I talk about the footing, it's the base of everything to get started. And then you build your foundation, which is your structure of learning, your structure of taking things in, and then you build your business on top of that, right? Which is, you know, prospecting, leads, how to deal with follow-ups, all that stuff goes on top of that. And that's what you see, but you don't see all the other stuff. Does that make sense, guys?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the consistency there is a huge key, right? That's where we see so many elite, everyone that's elite, right? Whether it's an elite athlete, an elite business person, it's consistency. And I heard something on the radio yesterday, and I'm sure we'll see this play out in all the gyms across the country, but the average person that sets their New Year's resolution stays with it for 33 days. And after 33 days, they end up keeping the gym membership they signed up for because of guilt, and they don't want to cancel it and feel like they quit on themselves, but yet they quit the consistency and they quit getting up every morning and going.
Well, I got to tell you, my favorite saying over the last quarter of the year and the beginning of every year is really simple. That discomfort of discipline, the pain of discipline, is much better than that feeling of regret.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Love it.
You know, and I say that all the time. And hey, look, you know what? None of us are perfect. We all have those days we don't want to do it. I was talking about how I start my day. It helps me every day. And I do realize that if I don't do it, it hurts me the rest of the day.
Right.
Right. You know, and it's just a wonderful thing to do. And it's the basis of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something that you just even said in that, and that now you repeated it several times, and I think it goes back to mindset, is you said, how do I help someone? And I think that right there is a shift in like the mindset of like most agents, and especially new agents, is they go into it not realizing that their job is just to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
They go into it thinking that I have to prospect asking for something. Really, if you go into it with the mindset that I'm just here to help you, it breaks down all those barriers.
So true. And that's why, you know, in my program, I do a session every week called Scripts and Dialogues. Okay. So, and why is it called Scripts and Dialogues and not just role play or script practice? Well, the scripts is what to say. The dialogue is how to say it. And it's to break down just what you said, right? So I can use Tom Ferry scripts, Chris Smith, Mike Ferry, all these scripts. I can use these scripts, but really they're all the same unless you say them the way you talk, number one, and the way you do it to help somebody. Like, for instance, like, it's simple as teaching someone how to mirror and match somebody, right? When you call somebody up and say it's a for sale by owner or expired and they get mad at you. And I tell people, well, if they get mad at you, give it right back to them, right? Because if you think about it, you try to be squirmy and say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you'll hang up. If you give it right back to them, they're going to, you know, so it's this way, you know, they're thinking a little bit more about you. And to help somebody is where you're dialoguing instead of just scripting, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by that.
And I think that one of the other things, and this was a mindset issue for me, is I was like, I don't want to learn. I had success, which was great right off the gate, but kind of like how you said, I just jumped right in. I didn't have any real like training right off the bat. I did end up getting a mentor because she jokes and says that I didn't give her a choice in the matter, but I knew I needed help. And but she was a high producing agent in our team, and I partnered up with her. But we just kind of I just kind of dove in, and I was like, well, I don't need scripts. I don't need dialogue. I had I had a bad attitude about it because I felt like it wasn't me and it wasn't authentic. But just like what you're saying, I had to realize I did have my own scripts and dialogues.
Right.
Everybody has them. It's just ones that I created.
Yeah.
Well, it's exactly. It's like what my friend Mike Pruitt at Century 21 Connect in Georgia says. All you have to do is just two words, and that's be nice. That's it. That's what he says to all his new agents. Can you be nice to people today? Yeah. Well, go call 30 people and get an appointment.
Yeah.
Right? Be nice. And that's all you have to do is be yourself. I mean, if you're nice, most people are nice people. Most people are good people. And that's the best advice you can give anybody. Just be nice, be yourself. You know? Use the scripts as a guide.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it was just learning that, you know, maybe there are certain questions that I wasn't asking that I should have been asking, or learning that, you know, we put some words in there that maybe I should have been putting in there, and just learning. So I think it's just taking those scripts and making it what, like you said, like making it you, making it what you're comfortable with. And then it just becomes natural.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we talked, use sports before. I'm going to use sports for a different example. I mean, you know, I'm a big baseball fan. I like football and stuff, and I use Derek Jeter as my big example. I say, well, what did Derek Jeter do before every game? He practiced, right? You know, that kid made 56 errors his first year in professional baseball. 56 errors, right? His dad said, stay at it, you'll be fine. What did Derek Jeter do before the last game that he ever played in the major leagues? He practiced. So from day one, when he was a little kid, to his last game, and he probably still practices, he practiced. And that's one thing that's an art that we do not really do well in the majority of our people in our business.
True.
Where it started, the people I work with, most of them practice.
Yeah.
Right? And that's one thing we have to do. We have to realize that, you know, this is not something that we can go into just like, I mean, people on stage, actors. What do? They rehearse, right? They just don't go on stage and perform. That's exactly what a lot of agents are trying to do. That's why they don't feel comfortable making calls.
Yeah. And so now I have another question for,
Sure.
like, I hear everybody's talking so much about like everything's shifting and the agent, you know, everything's switching to video. And, you know, when you're coaching and stuff like that, how much have you I think we've heard the word pivot a million times because in 2020, like how much have you coached your clients, or how much have things changed from how you coached in the past to 2021 and transitioning to everything that's happening in our world?
The only thing that's changed really is the push toward virtual, the push toward video. I've been doing video for about 14 years. I've been teaching virtual real estate for 5. Oddly enough, couldn't get anybody to really buy into it 6 years ago. Now everybody wants to buy into it, or they're more afraid of it than they are video. Oh, do I have to be on video? No, you really don't. I mean, what I'm trying to tell people is video is important. And you're right. The word pivot, I hate that word. Right? I mean, a really great coach by the name of, has initials TF, used it all the time, and that was his program that he came out with. Yeah. And so many coaches came out with so many different programs and so many different pivot was the main word. Yeah. But here's the thing. I think if you evolve, I think that's what we all need to do, is evolve. Video is extremely important. It's always going to be important. It was 14 years ago. 5 years ago was supposed to be the year of video. Every year is the year of video. You look at the feeds on social media, at least on Facebook, a lot of it's video. I'm not going to say most, but a lot of it's video, right? And everything that we're moving toward is video. You know, my marketing, my social media is, I'm going to say 80% video, but it's the engagement that we're looking for, especially on social, that the video is only going to help with. It's going to aid in. And what's the engagement? Is actually starting conversations. Yeah. How do you start conversations on social media? You don't just put up a pretty picture of something. That was good 10 years ago when social started, right? Now it's not. People are always looking for something to stop the scroll, right? Yeah. Get it, understand it. I taught it too. I still do. You need to ask questions. Let's remember, this is the most important thing that I think I've learned and really pushed forward in the past couple of years is, just like making posts is like making a statement. But if you're asking questions, you're asking for engagement. So let's remember this. If you're making statements, it's about you. If you're asking questions, it's about them. So what you're trying to do is make everybody else feel important by getting them involved in your life. And you're actually trying to just, hey, you're walking by, you grab them. Hey, I got a question for you. It's kind of what it is, right? Yeah. But you've got to get the engagement, and that's how you're going to build social. I mean, I've seen some of the people you've had on, and basically they haven't said what I said, but they said the exact same thing in another way. Right.
Yeah. I love that, because I think that's the number one thing when I talk, even with our team. I'm like, you guys, like, let's start getting, them involved in more video. And but I just don't know what content to put out there. And I think we obsess about it so much. And I see so many realtors put out such boring content of like, what's escrow and what's this? And, and people aren't looking for that. If they really want to find that, they're going to go Google it, and they're going to go on YouTube, and they're going to find something. So, I just feel like for like in the social media aspect of things, I'm like, just like you said, have a conversation, like conversation starters, do things to, like, I can't stand when I see the same videos over and over, like talking about a home that they're just listing, or, an open house, and you can just tell, like, I see it and I know exactly what it is, and I just scroll right past it.
Right. Right, exactly. I mean, you see, it's funny. I said, the biggest mistake people make is copying the wrong thing. And that's what they're copying, just listed, just sold. Yesterday I went on a little bit of a rant on a live video. I do 3 early lives a week. And I went on a little bit of a rant saying, who's it for? What are you posting for? And I said jokingly, I want it to be about me, meaning that give me something that I really am interested in, rather than you telling me that you feel blessed that you just sold a home and your attorney did a great job or your title guy did a great job. I don't care. Right. That's true. I really don't care. What I care about, what's the story? Give me some human interest, right? Yeah. Actually show me what you did. And if it's not a big deal, put it on your business page and leave it alone.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
No, I love that. That's all great info. Dave, I want to respect your time. We try to keep these around 30 minutes. Where do people go to contact you? What's your website for your coaching? How do they get in touch with you?
There's aside from looking me up on social, everything, I am not a secret agent. All of my information is on my personal profile, including my email and my phone number. And that's and 80% of the agents do not have that. But if you want to have a conversation with me, go to talktodave.work. There's a form that you fill out. You can set up a time to talk with me, or you can just check out my website at realestateskillbuilder.com.
And then you had told us earlier before we jumped on this, because you do your own kind of live show similar to this. You have some really exciting guests coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that real quick?
Sure. It's called Real Estate Talk TGIF, and I'll give you a little hint. I have to ask you the question. Do you guys know what TGIF stands for?
Well, it used to be Thank Goodness It's Friday, but what is this one?
Thank God it's Fanale.
I love it.
Oh,
So tomorrow will be episode 132. In 132 straight weeks, we've done 134 broadcasts. Right?
So you've been consistent.
We're consistent. Yeah. So tomorrow we have Coach Hank Avink, a real estate agent from the Midwest, who is also a coach. He is an EXP agent, and he is the founder of the National Coaching League. Really cool guy. And next week we have the great Bill Pipes. Bill Pipes is, if anybody doesn't know, he's with the Tom Ferry Company. And we've got Chris Jones of Fizz Bonanza coming up. We got Derek Lipsky from Massachusetts. We've had a lot of other people. We'll have a lot of great people. I don't give out names until I have them for sure, but we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And talk about consistency. Fridays were Christmas and New Year's this year. We did shows on Christmas and New Year's this year. We'll keep going, man. So tomorrow, it's Friday, January 8th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Coach Hank Avink will be my guest.
And where do we tune in for that?
You can get it on my personal page and several different groups I have all over Facebook, as well as YouTube and LinkedIn.
Wonderful.
awesome. Super excited. We'll be tuning in tomorrow. So we're excited. Awesome. We really, really appreciate having you on. So many good nuggets. And it was awesome connecting with you on here. I loved it.
You too. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you, Dave. Thank you.